Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I re-dyed my hair. I don't know if there is actually a difference, because I haven't filmed like consistently for like a while. The last one I filmed before the one I'm filming at the moment is like the twin flame update. And like, let's be honest, we don't want that. None of us wanted that, right? Like that, maybe you did, but I didn't. So today I have a bit of a different concept for you guys. Today I don't know if you know this, right? But I have a very religious background. You know, I don't know if you can recognize the trauma on my eyeliner, but but I until not very long ago, I was religious and I grew up in a religious community, and everyone around me was religious or had the values of the religion, was like traditional about it and shit like that. I don't know, okay? I grew up in that area of life. And well, you see me right now and you're like, what the fuck happened? Like, what happened? Well, listen, it's religions are not fun. They're not very fun and inclusive and inviting, and it's just like a way to trap your spirituality. That's We're getting into the conspiracies way sooner than I expected, but like it's just a way to control your spirituality so it fits somebody else's idea of spirituality. Does it make sense? Of God, of whatever, what is right and wrong objectively, like there is such thing, something like that. So I wanted to talk about, funny enough, you can see my stomach here. I wanted to talk about modesty. It's nearly the spring equinox, so I felt like I could wear some shorts, which I'm in love with because I'm not cold. I mean, I'm a little cold. That's why I'm having this jacket here, but I'm not that cold. Like, it's not cold enough for me to turn the heater on. You know what I mean? And you know how much I love my heater. So yeah, it's getting warm, guys. That's it. That's the end of winter. It made me think. Okay, and this was not the only thing that made me think about this subject. There is an influencer online that is kind of like a friend of mine, I would say, because like, how if you both influence the same audience, so you overlap, and you like meet each other and you get impressed by each other and you learn from each other and you get influenced by each other, even though you both are targeting for like kind of the same audience, just with different niches. You are going to come across each other and like befriend and whatever. This is my point, right? That this girl is like very much interested. If you're watching this, you probably know who you are, and just so you know, I'm super inspired by you every day. Every day I'm super inspired by you. Keep going, queen. So she is really a wonderful human being from what I can see, yeah? And she reminds me of myself a lot, and she recently started doing this, like, most of her content is about like Kabbalah and like NLP. She's like a trained NLP coach, whatever, I don't know. She's really interesting and like she knows what she's talking about. So I saw recently on her stories something about modesty, that she is like taking on herself to like dress modestly at least once a week, and at the beginning, I don't know if you can hear this motorcycle, but bitch, what the fuck was that? Why? When I saw this, I must admit, right, that I was triggered instantly. I was triggered. I was just like, no way someone is like choosing to do that, because I specifically have bad experiences with modesty, in a sense of like trigger warning. I used to get beat up for like wearing shit like that, and this person what is choosing out of their own will to wear modest clothing. Huh? This is so weird. I was just like so triggered. It was really weird to me, because for me specifically, it was something I had to fight off, the modesty thing. The actual devil on my shoulder telling me, oh, that's not modest enough. You're going to hell. Shit like that. You know what I mean? And to see somebody else seeing a completely different thing in modesty was kind of like amazing, because she is saying like how much girls in our age, like age I mean like the era that we live in, we get validation mostly on the way that we look. I mean, it has always been this way, but today the way that we look is very provocative, right? Back then in the days, you were like wearing petticoats and shit like that, and button-ups and whatever, you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't a bunch of skin showing, but today it's so mainstream, right? To love your body, to want to show it, to be able to as well, legally also, and to be protected by law and by just like societal norms that it's normal for you to walk the way you want to walk around, like that's fine. So I want to talk a bit about the subject of modesty and how we view it and how different people see different things in it. I really want to talk about that. So let's jump right into it, right? With a joint that I rolled just for this video. Isn't it so cute how I think of you guys? No, I was actually thinking about myself. But no, I was thinking of you. I was thinking of you. No, I'm committed to you. Like, you're the only girl. All of you silent watchers out there, why don't you leave a comment? Is my question. Because I really want your feedback. I know you're watching anyway. Please, maybe even write to me on Instagram. But just please, I must know what you think. Okay, so this girl said that, today we, in this era of existence, we as women get more attention and more validation on the way that we look if it's more provocative, and I grew up in a religious circle, in a religious environment, in a religious community, and everything was religious and traditional and conservative, so like I don't relate to that statement, but I can completely understand that, from a person who lived on the outside of religion, like who lived freely, who wasn't imprisoned by their own mind, you know what I mean? People who live freely and are not religious, because it's a prison. Okay, I'll stop. Yeah. So like they would see it that way because they don't have a different meaning for that thing, you know what I mean? They don't have shame from like an early age about it because they grew up normally. So they actually see it as not only a good thing, but a thing that catches people's attention and a thing that makes you more valuable or more attractive, right? And it's all about like the way we view life, right? Because like it could be right for people to feel that way in modest clothing, not modest clothing, black clothing, colorful clothing, no clothing at all. Like I think that's what's most beautiful about life, is that all of us, we just have a very specific experience on this earth. Like no one is gonna have the same experience as we do, and this is what I fucking love about this world. It's just that we're all so special and so different and so unique and so like our own individual masterpieces of creation that it's just amazing. I don't know, it amazes me. If you can see the world itself as an art piece, imagine, imagine, an art piece in which every stroke is done with a different medium. Imagine that, okay? For instance, just to like measure up what I'm saying about like God and the world and like, us human beings. So this is what it feels like it is. You know what I mean? So for me specifically, as a person who actually sees my immodesty an act of like courage and self-love and like an actual modesty in a way, seeing her talk about that, I was like, wow, that's super interesting. Like, that's really interesting because I have all of my life has been running away, not running away, but like trying to kill off, right? This modesty thing that's been haunting me. And this girl is actually seeking modesty. That is, and she is my level of smart, my level of, in a sense of like, I can't just say like, oh, she's brainwashed, she's brainwashed. No, it's like a person who wants to do it because they see something highly spiritual about it. And I think that's super magical. And I was so fucking stunned by that in such a magical way. So I had to like talk about it. I had to. I must. So my story is a bit of a complicated story. If you can't tell by the way I look, I'm a complicated being. Not in a bad way, Some people would call me like sunshine and rainbows, but a tree can only go up to heaven if its roots are reaching hell. So that's kind of like what I am. I'm a tree that goes up to heaven, but the roots, bitch, are farther than hell, bitch. Like, hell can find them. You know what I mean? Like, hell, the demons are fucking afraid to go there. So yeah, I grew up in a religious community, and I'm not gonna say that I was like orthodox, right? Because I wasn't. But the type of religious that I was, I think, is the scariest. Because, well, yeah, it is the scariest. Because you're not religious enough to be in the very close religious communities, the orthodox communities. And you're not unreligious enough to fit in society, you know? And because they don't really teach you history in that school, or like literature. They don't really, it's just like Bible, math, more Bible also during the math, because it's the teachers are religious, and they're gonna preach every time they fucking can, so just like they don't want you to be free thinking, because this is what religions do, and that's why I call it brainwashing and just like spiritual control, like a way to control your spirituality. It's because they do not encourage free thinking. That's the fucking whole point of why people hate orthodox religions, because they tell you, especially in Christianity, I've noticed. I'm Jewish, I grew up Jewish, but I have, I'll get to that, I've consumed a lot of atheist media, since like me being like 14, not even 12. Oh my god, 12, bro. 12? No way. I might know by the time that Jacqueline Glenn and Social Repose broke up. I remember this like it was fucking yesterday, bitch. I was a Social Repose hardcore diehard fan, right? But also Jacqueline Glenn, And when they got together and got married, I was just like, oh my god, this is my utopia. And I was listening also to his music back in the Musically days. Wow, man. And like that came out that he cheated on her and whatever, like, and he's a horrible person. And I was just like, my heart, first of all, is shattered. Second of all, I'm gonna keep following you. And I was like, just like going through all of her videos, like, and watching literally everything that I could. And she is an atheist. If you don't know, go watch Jacqueline Glenn. What the fuck are you doing? Like, are you even a true emo? You don't know who Jacqueline Glenn is, and you call yourself an emo? How fucking dare you? So, um, yeah. So Jacqueline Glenn is an atheist YouTuber that used to be a Christian, and a lot of people don't know this, but she used to go to medical school to be kind of like a biochemist or something. I don't know, something like very complicated. And she always reminded me of my aunt. A person who had to do how do you call it? Deconstruction. Yeah, because she lived in a, but not of religion, of different things. But she has had to do a lot of deconstruction to become who she is today. A person who built, like, who went to university to study engineering and management and shit like that. And I don't know, and like also in the vibe, the whole vibe, like the tone of voice, the movements, the viewpoints, perhaps. She reminds me a lot of my aunt. So this is why I felt like I could relate, okay? She's emo. She reminds me of my aunt. Like, I was religiously, you know what I mean, watching her channel. And from her, I got to God is Grey, which I loved for the beginning of her channel, but like, and I got to like the Mr. Atheist and all of those people. I was literally watching and listening to every atheist media possible, you know. But before I got sidetracked, I was talking about the fact that what the hell was I talking about? I was talking about um how like I grew up and everyone was religious in my vicinity, right? And not only that, oh, I talked about like the very specific type of spirituality that this is, or religious that this is. So it's like, not only is everybody religious and shit like that around me, and that's all I know, right? But also, the type of religious that we were, it was like so open to interpretation, and my dad took advantage of that because he is mentally insane. If you don't know that, I've mentioned it a couple times on my channel, not in a bad way, but you know how you just have a wire just like unscrewed in your brain. That's my dad. So once you become more inclined to questioning your reality and living in an alternate reality based on what the fuck is going on in the leak that came out of that, you know, open screw in your mind. I don't want to know sometimes, you know, because it's, yeah. You make very weird things of the Bible and of the truth, and you the things that you know are a lot of things, you know. And my dad is calls himself a religious person, first of all, and I don't know what to say to that because he doesn't. I'm not gonna get into that, you know, but okay, let's say he is, for even though he doesn't do all the Shabbat and shit like that. Okay, let's say he is, though, for this sake. Um, I get anxious when I'm scared. Why am I scared? I'm scared to fuck this up. What does it mean to fuck this up? If I have to edit this, that means I fuck this up. No, that means I'm doing my job if I'm editing this, because I should edit anyway, even if I speak flawlessly, because I don't know, I can make it an art piece, you know. So he was definitely learning a lot of hidden knowledge, which, you know, it's kind of like all of the hermetics, all of the um esoteric knowledge you can acquire, the Kabbalah, the Zohar, the fucking Talmud, every fucking shit you can think about that, you know, the public usually is not allowed to study, you know, random people are not allowed in in like the religion to study that because it has consequences and it's dangerous and it could like damage your life, you know? Yeah, hardcore stuff, you know? Because it's just a lot of the truth, you know? And in this life, we're often very much asleep. So to hear the truth, all of a sudden, it awakens this fire inside of you that is just like eating you alive, basically. You know what I mean? Eating every part of your existing life to create new ones, you know, to suit what you know now and what changed in your destiny and how it's just like leading you somewhere else. Well, you know, shit like that. So I heard all of those crazy shit conspiracies and sacred knowledge and all of those things from a very young age. Since I remember myself, I remember my dad being just like telling Bible stories, being all conspiratory, like, I don't know, right? So telling me about like the Messiah coming. Why I actually talked about this with him today, and I was just like, bro. And I know I said I'm not in contact with my dad anymore because he is mentally insane. He manipulated a lot of money out of me. But no, I don't I'm not in contact with him, but actually writing a podcast episode about alien invasion and just like the end of the world and like, you know, how it connects to like the idea of the Messiah coming and shit like that. And yeah, I so obviously I was like, I don't think I have enough information though. Who can I ask about this? Oh, my dad. Oh my god, my dad would. This is the moment he waited for his whole life for me to ask something like this. Like, this is what he wanted always, you know? He prayed day and night for this moment to happen, you know? So I, you know, as an 8-year old, I was going to bed every night imagining the end of the world, you know, the Messiah coming, us walking 40 days and nights in the desert, you know. I imagined the Messiah like Jesus for something, and for some reason. And I don't know, like, why? I imagined him just like only now. I like realize that this is how I imagined the Messiah to look like. Because, well, I think the whole thing is that in Judaism, there's like two messiahs. The one is like Messiah, the son of David, and the other one is Messiah, the son of Joseph. So Joseph, I always imagine him looking like Jesus. I think he is the Jesus of like the Old Testament. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you read the Bible. I'm just like a Bible geek. Like, I am. Look at me saying I'm a Bible geek, bro. And I imagine him looking like Jesus because I always imagine Joseph looking kind of like the same way, but whatever. So, modesty. Yeah, I'm getting sidetracked so much. So, for me, modesty was at first a curse, right? I was humiliated, and how it happened, okay, was that I was free to wear whatever the fuck I wanted, even though I grew up in a very religious community, in a very religious everything, whatever we talked about that. Other than school, which I was, you know, required to wear a skirt that, you know, surpasses the knee. Um, that was pretty much about it. You know, in kindergarten also, I it was like religious kindergarten, bitch. You had to go with the skirt to the kindergarten as well. They program you young, bitch. They condition you young. The conditioning, right? Was there, but I was still, when at home, like in my life, personal life, I was, it was for me to, okay for me to wear whatever the fuck I wanted, until my dad got in prison. And then he prayed real hard in prison. He was like, God, if you get me out of here, I'm gonna I'm gonna be religious. I'm gonna be really religious and I be like so devoted. And okay, a week later, he got out of jail. So he was like, damn it, I'm gonna have to make this happen, you know? And he is crazy again. So like when people are just like finding out the truth and just like are seeing the light, basically, are feeling the like divinity, um they go nuts. They go a little nuts, they go a little delulu. And he is mentally insane, so imagine that on top of that, on top of that, on top of that, he lost his mind. I would actually get humiliated and sometimes beat up and screamed at, yelled at, like screamed at, I don't want to trigger anyone, but it doesn't trigger me anymore, so I can share some pretty horrific stuff and be just like, oh, whatever, like, it's been a while. Like, I don't know. But yeah, because I was wearing like, and I was like 6, 7, something like that. And I was like wearing jeans, like, or like, just like pants, trousers with just like large, like high boots over them, because it was winter, it was cold, and he was just like screaming at me for wearing that. Oh, not even jeans. I was just like wearing tights, shorts, and like the long boots. And he was like losing it and screaming at me. So I was, I very early in that era, I understood that it's modesty. He's gonna make us wear like skirts and walk around like fucking potato bags, perhaps. Maybe this is gonna happen. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna test the waters now in a bit to see like what's okay to wear, what's not okay to wear. Embarrassing me in public, making me feel like, I don't know, I killed someone just now because I'm wearing this, It's not even begin the like conversation of like narcissistic parents and how they see you as an extension of themselves. So like whatever you present, it has to match them and the way they see you and the way they see themselves. Because if it doesn't, like that means you're your own individual, and that's a concept they cannot grasp. I whatever. I'm over like trying to like analyze it and shit like that. That's the reality, man. What can we do? Nothing really. Nothing. If we can't change it, accept it. So this is what I was doing basically. Um, I realized I cannot change this. You know, my dad believing in God all of a sudden and becoming religious. Um, even and still acting like a piece of shit, but religious, a religious piece of shit, a piece of shit of God, you know what I mean? Which is crazy, but whatever. Um, yeah, so I was just like, all of a sudden, I switched to the opposite, and I was just like, to the opposite mindset, and I was just like, no, I chose to do it. I am happy doing it. This is the only life I can have. I don't have a choice and I'm gonna enjoy it and I'm just gonna, you know. But then I started seeing my mom more, and because they're divorced, obviously, look at me. I don't have, like, so she and like also her brother, that is my uncle that I dropped tea about, but we used to be very close as a family. He used to live with us for a while because he couldn't live at home. Same abusive story, whatever. A lot of abuse goes on in that family. So my mom's was like a safe place. Um, so for everyone except me. Whatever. I'm trauma dumping on my camera. Whatever. Why not? That's why I'm here. Um. So they were telling me like, oh, you can around us, you can dress like whatever the fuck you want. You can wear whatever the fuck you want. Like you don't have to, you know, l- keep the abuse going, even though you're out of that. And I was so brainwashed, and I was like, no, I want to be modest. I want to look modest. I want to wear only skirts. And I actually didn't have any trousers in my wardrobe at all. It was just like my life to wear skirts. That was just who I was from that point on. And to not wear sleeveless shirts and not, and all of that obviously made me hate myself and my body, because this is not mine. Everybody can tell me what the fuck to do with it, what the fuck to wear, what the fuck to show, you know what I mean? And it's just like the dissonance that I felt. It was just like horrible, because I was just like, I want to wear pretty clothes. I want to be pretty. Like, why can't I be pretty? Why can't I have my nails done? Because like that's you can't, if you know actual religion, and the actual rules in the actual religions. I just looked deeply into your eyes for a moment there. You can't look pretty, honey. Earrings like that, dangly, big, catch attention. You cannot show your hair down like that. You cannot walk around like this, because this is alluring. Makeup like that kind of a makeup is alluring. It's accentuating who you are. First of all, I was about to say necklace that go down to that neckline, but bitch, that neckline wouldn't exist in religion, okay? Like, this is collarbones for days, bitch. This is more like it in religion. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, couldn't have my nails done. Couldn't, and it's yeah, and I couldn't like wear my hair down to school. Like everybody had like a normal life going to school, and just like I will see like I, I will see kids coming from like an atheist school, like with their bags and trousers, walking with jeans and like wearing like their hair down, or like boys who have like long hair, or like I don't know. I just felt so trapped. I was just like, I don't know. Yeah, I felt so trapped. I felt like they have a free life and I'm in this prison, you know? And I was making myself believe that this is conditioning, bro. This prison is what's good for me, right? Because I don't know what is good for me. Religion does. God does. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what is good for me. That's what also Christianity tells you a lot. Don't listen to your heart. The heart is deceitful above all things. Right? That's what it says. Why? Because that's free thinking. That's you listening to your own intuition. And they don't fucking want that, bitch. If you listen to your own intuition, you're gonna vanish like that from the religion. You're gonna see through the bullshit, You're gonna overturn the fucking government if you listen to your intuition, actually. You know? If you do that, call me. I wanna be a part of that. But, but you know what I mean? Like, so they don't want you to be free thinking, free feeling, right? Feeling things like actual joy, hope, confidence, right? What they want you to feel is shame and guilt, you know? And it's always been this way with religions, do whatever the fuck you want, say whatever the fuck you want, but that is kind of like the whole point of religion, coming from those places, making you feel that way, keeping you trapped in those low vibrational areas of your mind, shame and guilt, the lizard brain, the root chakra, right? So they can like manipulate you. Like the sheep, y'all be the sheep, right? Imagine like all of a sudden, I mean, you gain awareness, right? And you just see all of the bullshit that's around you, and how like the priest is lying to you, and just like how, you know, the cult that you were once a part of is just a big fat lie to make people feel special. Kind of like what I think about religion, that they use scripture and like the Bibles and like things. I don't know, they will use pretty much anything, right? Let's be honest, those big cults, you know, very popular cults, which I would call religions, they make you again trapped in that lack mindset, in that um damaged, broken, victim mindset, survival mode vibration, And then you cannot think for yourself and see the reality for what it is. But also because it permits them to exercise the whatever the fuck they want behind a mask of religion. So I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can, like, priests and rabbis, how they like, the stereotype is that they harass boys, like they could do that, and like people aren't gonna question anything, because like, or they're not supposed to question them because they are religious, and hence you shouldn't even insinuate or even think about the fact that they might be able to do something like that. Basically what I'm getting at with this whole side rant is that, yeah, it fucked me up, because staying in those places of guilt, shame, deep shame of the way that I looked, and the meaning of my body, and, in general, that it must be covered up. You must cover it up because something is wrong with it. Something, you cannot walk around uncovered because it's too much, or because, and I don't know, me as a person, I've always felt, as an Aquarius, I've always was too much for people, and too different, and too everything. So I was isolated already, and I was shunned to the corners, the dark corners of society, or lack thereof, already, So this on top of that, to make me also hate myself and my own body and my own purpose of existence and my image and everything like that, was fucking insane. And it always happens when I'm recording that I get this message that I want to respond to, but I won't because I'm in the middle of this channeling. So yeah, and on top of that, I started like emotionally eating, because also this is what my grandma will do. My grandma raised me basically because my parents were both crazy, and my mom was just like 17. So she was an unhealthy eater. Like, she had very unhealthy eating habits, and she was like an emotional eater. So when I was like very much traumatized and experiencing trauma and violence every day, whether it would be verbal, emotional, psychological, sometimes physical even, I would be traumatized, and to regulate my emotions, I would either play video games or eat, basically. And this is why I was a chubby kid. I wasn't like, no, I was chubby. I was about to say, I wasn't that chubby. Like, I was never fat, even as a kid, but I was chubby. Like, imagine if all of the other girls were like thin. I was the chubby one. I wasn't fat, but next to them, I looked fat. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't actually overweight, but I looked like I was. Like, I looked different than them. That's what I'm trying to say. That I was just like too different. So they were literally body shaming me. Like, I will never forget this. Like, they were saying like something about my arms and how they're like huge or something. And I remember since that comment for years, years, actual years. I think maybe still I even have that sometimes, that I think about it, that thought comes to my mind, that my arms are too fat, are huge. I can't wear anything. I can't go anywhere. I can't take like when I'm like this cardigan off because my arms are so huge, and shit like this. Like, it was crazy, man. It was so crazy. So I developed an eating the like body dysmorphia, right? And then I developed an eating disorder because of that. I was anorexic. Trigger warning. This whole video is a trigger. Every video of mine, okay, is a whole ass trigger. I'm a trigger. I'm a walking trigger. Okay, the divine built me this way, so I can change your life. Basically, everywhere I go, I make miracles happen. Why? Because I make you face your own demons. Because I am showing you how much of a reflection of you I really am. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm here to trigger you the fuck out of you. But that all of those things combined, right? All of those things combined were not a recipe for success in any sort of a way. And I must say, I like the concept that people don't live that way. That it's just my experience. I didn't, until today, I didn't really understand and realize how much like our experiences actually become kind of make us biased in some way. I thought I could, think outside of the box and see people, and just like empaths do, see almost any possible scenario of life, and how people could live it and how people could think. I thought I could see that, but I guess I didn't know what is the extent of those understandings, because now I'm just like questioning my whole fucking reality, honestly, because it was so fucking shocking, yeah, for me to see the contrast between a person like me who is escaping it their whole lives, right, and breaking free from modesty culture was so refreshing and so freeing, and so like, later on I will tell you what I think about modesty for myself and not in general, but it was so magical, I guess, to see somebody else have like almost the opposite experience. You know what I mean? Yeah. Honestly, a thing in religion is that also when somebody sees you wearing revealing clothing, provocative clothing, whatever, they immediately lower your worth, because that's what we're taught, that people that are dressed like that, girls who are wearing pants, girls who are wearing crop tops, we're disappointed in them, and like they could do so much better, and they are just like devaluing themselves, and they making themselves look cheap, and just like teaching us that. So we see those groups of people as cheap, as like we are better than them. We're doing this because this makes us better than them, and it was just like a whole ass weird ass concept, right? Even after like I started wearing trousers and stuff like that, and just like not forcing myself to be something that I'm not, even though I kept going to the religious school, because that was like middle school, like junior high, high school at that point. I was still going to this religious school that was like boys and girls, but like the classes were just girls or just boys, which was kind of cool. There was like a just girls building and a just guys building. It was really cool. I say it cool now, but it's a little weird that you have to separate them. But let me tell you, right? guys are just weird, you know? So I'm glad I didn't have, and I'm gay also, if you didn't know that. So, from the way that I look and I talk and whatever, and I have a black cat, like, I don't know what didn't tip me off, but I was enjoying, you know, just sitting in a classroom full of girlies, and they're all like, and it's just girls, so they can just like change in front of each other, and everyone is like asks for mints and shit. I don't know. It was cute, whatever. But I was still battling that fucking eating disorder and body dysmorphia that I got from all of this trauma and this bullying and all of this, right? All of it. I am still processing it, you know? I'm still going through the motions. I'm still like in this place that is like forcing me basically to be modest every day. Like I went to school every day, once a month. um, and yeah, I might not be modest like the other girls, like, because I did have a piercing, you know, and I would wear goth accessories and I would look very goth, you know. I had like bleached blonde hair, just like white hair, you know, and I didn't wear any makeup, and I'm super pale, so it would just look like I'm a ghost, you know. Um, and I was just like walk into school with these like mesh tops, you know. The law and like the rules increase when it comes to modesty. Also, the older you get, because the older you get as a woman, you look more alluring, so you have to cover more the older you get. Isn't it fucking disgusting? I think it's disgusting. So the rule in like primary school was, you know, a normal shirt. You can just wear a normal shirt. But the rule in junior high primary school was it has to go past your elbow. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just so they let me do that. Just so they let me look the way I want to look. I'm gonna be the most modest bitch out here. Okay, girls were walking with mini skirts, full face of makeup, which actually was allowed. But I actually was a tomboy, so I didn't really. I pretended I don't know anything about makeup. Um, you know, glued lashes, shit like that. They were walking like that to school, a religious school. Yeah, with the t-shirt, whatever, like a normal like school shirt and just like a hoodie. You know, girly things. You know, and my dramatic Victorian ass was walking with just like these maxi skirts made out of like fake leather, like latex, you know, that it's like super shiny and shit like that. Yeah. Like I would wear that and like those mesh tops that are super long. I go up to here, even in summer. Even during summer, and it's all black. And I just have my blonde bob, no makeup, you know. I have pentagram jewelries. I'm just, you know, you can't say shit. Why? Because I am just exactly what you want me to be. Kind of. I was still battling and eating disorder on my own time, and on my in my personal life I was kind of wearing whatever the fuck I wanted, but not really, because I was actually at that time when I was like being that goth in high school and stuff like that. And one of the peaks, I would say, of my eating disorder, of my anorexia. So you don't see your body the way it actually is, and even if you are skinny, you see yourself in the mirror as still fat. And it never changes, actually. The way you see yourself never changes. Like, it always only gets worse, only gets uglier, only gets, like, I don't know, whatever the fuck you want to call it, you know? But, yeah. So, I was still not being able to wear crop tops because my arms are too big. And, I don't know. And I still cannot wear like dresses because my arms are too big, or I don't have enough boobs, or I don't know, anything like that, right? I have to cover myself up because also nobody wants to see that, right? I need to cover myself up. right? It's like I told you before, like that little devil on my shoulder that's telling me you must cover up. The shame and the guilt, like, oh, look how alluring you look like that. You must cover up, or else you're gonna go to hell, or else you're sinning, basically. You're committing a sin knowingly. And you say you respect God, and you say you have a good conscience, and you say you have a good heart, and this devil just keeps going, and just is disguised in the religion, but like, what the fuck is that? That is not me. That is not like loving myself and being free and feeling free, you know what I mean? So, fast forward 2 years after that, right? Or like a year and a half after that, actually. I I was kicked out of that school, moved to a different school, whatever. So that was an atheist school. And I was just like, oh my god, I can just like wear trousers, and just like, it was actually less fun than the religious school, because there you had more rules against people like me, the ghouls of us, the emo bitches, the goth bitches, the ghouls, the vampires, more than they had, because they only had like modesty shit. But here, they try to control more things. Oh, now you can't wear makeup. Bitch, I started wearing makeup for nothing. I started wearing makeup and I enjoyed it, even though I hated it my whole, like, in early years, because I'm like, I'm different. I'm not like other girls. I hate makeup. Like, and now I'm doing makeup and I love it, and you're telling me I can't? Bitch, what the fuck? Yeah, something like that, I cannot wear ripped jeans? Why wear trousers at all if you can't wear ripped jeans, bitch? Like, this is what I was thinking. I had more options in that school, in the previous religious school. But what I'm saying is that in that time, I was also slowly reaching one of my peaks. So I was 17, just turned 17, and I I'm I'm just 20. And it feels like it happened like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, but it just happened like 3 years ago. Like, damn, you know. I I was going through like a really rough time with my body, my self-esteem, and I started to get really skinny, and I started to kind of like control, you know, the weight and stuff like that, and to reach every goal successfully, because beforehand, I don't want to share too much, I have a video about that if you want to overcome your anorexia and shit like that, but or like to just learn more about the subject. But I was giving myself more weight goals, more dramatic, and shit like that, weight goals, and I was neglecting my body, basically. And once I smoked weed, kind of like a bit after that, only now, thinking back on it, I realized that, like, not now specifically, but like in this year, during this year, I realized that what actually helped me kind of like stop being anorexic is smoking weed. And the first time I ever tried smoking weed, it was when I was, actually have a video about that too, when I, at my 17th birthday. So since then, that era, time would pass and I would actually start to smoke weed. And I think the fourth time I ever smoked weed was the time where it made me like realize I am, that day, I think I just realized it. It was just, I remember exactly what I was wearing, where I was going, what I was doing, and that day I was just like looking at myself in the mirror and being really aware all of a sudden, just being like, wow, I am really skinny. Like, I am did it happen like overnight? Like, that's what I was thinking, right? Because when you have dysmorphia, you don't really know what the fuck you look like, you just count on what other people are telling you, basically, and you don't believe them anyways, but you know what I mean? Like, um that little part of you that does believe them is like eating away at it, and just like, okay, yeah, they tell me I look good, you know what I mean? Like, oh, they tell me I'm too skinny, oh, I'm overjoyed, ew. Ew, ew, no. um Rough times, guys. So, this is why I know I'm going to heaven, if there is one, because God already gave me hell on earth. No, I'm just kidding. I love my own personal hell. I love it. That day when I smoked weed, it was like when I uh, officially realized that I must take responsibility for my body, for myself, and like cure myself out of this sickness, because I'm way too skinny. Like, I was looking at myself, I was high as fuck, right? And I was looking at myself and I'm like, yo, I'm so bony. I wanted to be this bony, but do I really want to be this bony? Like, and trigger warning, yeah, Eugenia Cooney was my icon. Like, I worshipped her. I wish to be her every day. That is so sad. That is so sad. And I'm sorry, but yeah. And I was already looking at myself, and I was, yeah, high as fuck looking at myself, and I was just like, I'm too skinny. Like, I gotta do something about this. Like, I don't want to. I see where it's going. I see where I'm gonna die soon. Like, it's facts. Like, I'm gonna die soon if I won't do something about this. So I fucking realized that in that moment, and the day after, I don't know, I guess I just, like, in that era also was introduced to the idea of affirmations, right? A lot, because in social media and stuff like that, it was very trendy back then. So just started to be trendy. So I heard about the concept, and literally the day after, I was like looking at myself in the mirror, and the first thing I wanted to say is just like, oh, I hate this, like, disgusting, I look at this. But I was actually like, no, Kesem, we affirm, we are amazing, we are beautiful just the way we are, even though we don't see it now, even though we don't think it now. We're beautiful and amazing just the way we are right now, and that is okay. And being healthy is better than being skinny. And that's what I was telling myself. Being healthy is better than being skinny, And I was affirming also, you're not gonna get fat from recovery. You're not gonna get fat from recovery, Because it's a huge fear that people who want to recover have, that they're gonna lose all the progress that they made because they are gonna live a healthy lifestyle, and that is really sad. That is really sad. But yeah, the thing that I automatically did to be like, okay, this forces me to love my body, was wearing immodest clothing, was wearing a fucking crop top, was wearing a mini skirt, was wearing a sleeveless top, was wearing shit like this. This was my being free. Like, the moment I was wearing all of those clothes and I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I feel comfortable wearing this. I feel comfortable wearing this. I'm okay with my body. I'm okay with my body. I just, like, loved it. I just loved it ever since. And, like, weed, cannabis helped a lot with this, yeah, I loved cannabis for that, but yeah, so for me today, what it means, modesty is more about humbling yourself, being modest in your personality, in your existence, being modest not bragging about things, not thinking you know more than other people, not harming other people, not lashing out on other people, just like treating people like they were you, like you would treat yourself. And I love myself, right? And that is the whole point of like spirituality and reaching to the truth, is through love, because love is the highest vibration, right? And joy and whatever, those are like the highest vibrations. And bitch, I work with the fucking goddess of love. And it's funny that now Lilith also works with me, because I really like connect with her to like the biblical meaning of like Lilith. And honestly, it's just like so immersing and it's so beautiful. But like, yeah, like all of my existence is to love, and I do my best to love every human. I actually don't need to do my best, because it comes naturally to me. I love every human just I would love my is the way I would love myself. So yeah. But what I'm saying is, even today, right? I can say that if people wouldn't comment about what I am wearing, because it was always different, it was always unique, even though it was immodest, modest, the feedback I would get is almost always negative with a hint of positive, or positive with a hint of negative. It would never be like something that I'm just like, oh yeah, thank you for the affirmation. No, it was like never like that. Maybe when a girl comes up to me and she's like, oh my god, I like your outfit, maybe then, but then I wouldn't feel like, I don't know how to explain this. Don't think of other people when I get dressed. Maybe it's a concept other people didn't hear yet, but but I dress up for myself. And even my first ever psychiatrist were just like, what do you mean you dress like this for yourself? And I explained to him, I will never forget this. I explained to him, yeah, like even if I would just like sit in front of the mirror all day and like never leave the house, I would still dress like this and then sit in front of the mirror and like do my stuff, or just like, because I like looking like this. I actually don't like when other people see me looking like this, because it's too different and it's too, but I like being this. It's just this thing. And with the modesty, it was kind of like the same thing, I guess, because like I liked wearing pretty things and things that accentuate my body, and make it more prominent, hugs my curves, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I like shit like this, because this makes me feel in my feminine energy. This makes me feel like I am the person I am meant to be. Like, I don't know how to explain this. I feel so free and so connected with my body that I can wear those things that accentuate, like, look at this, like, corset top, for instance. Like, isn't it so cute? And it's not like I have boobs or anything. I don't. But the fact that it's just like sitting on me like this, I love it. I just love it. It makes me feel so feminine. Like, I don't know what to say, you know? So yeah, what I'm saying is that I think modesty is, for me specifically, beyond the way you dress, because I dress up for myself. I live life the way I live them for myself, you know? Because if you would eliminate people from my life, it would probably be the same. Like, pretty much the same. Like, what I do all day is just like be on my computer, work on my computer, and talk to a camera and look at myself in the mirror and talk to myself in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like, so if I didn't have friends, or like if people didn't exist, like it wouldn't be there much of a difference, So I would still pretty much look like this and everything, because I just like the way it looks on me. I just love being it. Even if I don't go out of the house, and I don't think that we should be ashamed of who we are and who we want to be, you know what I mean? Like, or like we are better than other people, or like I don't know. I think modesty comes from within, and if you could be humble enough to admit your wrongdoings right there in the spot when you do them, if you can be humble enough to not judge a person before you even start talking to them, right? If you're not humble enough to not think you're better than anyone else and not the smartest person in the room, then you're not modest. You could cover every piece and inch of your body, but you are not modest, honey. You know what I mean? Like, it's the art, the subtle art of actual modesty. Actual modesty is humbleness. And that's all I wanted to say, actually. I don't think I have anything else to add. So, yeah, I hope you had a great time watching this video. And if you are a fan of modesty, don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against it. It just is my personal experience, with the way I want to exist in this universe. And I feel the best, actually, with myself, with my own body, with my own image of a person, of who I am, in skimpy clothing, in not so modest clothing, because that's what makes me feel most comfortable. I don't know how to explain this. Some people rather not wear anything, which I think personally is our most natural way of existence, because you see pigs and snakes and cats walking around with trousers and shoes. No, bitch. Why are we like that? Why do we have this stigma of shame and lust and all of those things surrounding our bodies? Because we are stupid. As much as we are smart, we are stupid. Like, it just has to even out, on something. And this is what it's evening out on, this and capitalism. So, it was wonderful talking to you. I'm gonna smoke the rest of that joint. Oh, and actually answer that message. So, yeah, I will talk to you soon. Love you. Bye bye.